So what was it like coaching a game where you weren't able to communicate as easily?
Yeah, it was weird. That's never happened, So anytime something in 40 years has never happened, it's noteworthy for me. It happened. We were up 21-0. I think the drive that they ended up putting a really long drive together. We ended up goal line stand. I didn't really like the late hit, so I voiced my thoughts. But then the rest of the drive happened, and so it ended up being a really long drive. And I remember we get down and have the goal line stand, and right after the goal line stand, everybody's excited. Offense comes up. I call the next play. I say it out loud. They heard it, and they start running on the field. And I realize I messed the call up, and I turned to yell to fix it, and nothing came out, just like that. And so that whole drive, it was interesting. Casey and I called it. Me just kind of pointing at the call sheet, him calling it, and then I think we drove down and quick kicked it, and then we got it back 2-minute drill. And I got to where I could at least whisper a little bit on the headset. So there was a lot of help. There was a lot of teamwork going on, calling plays, signaling stuff, and we got the field goal. But credit our staff, man. Like halftime adjustments, they handled it all. Halftime communication, coming back on the field. Our doctors, I drank 3 cups of hot tea and honey on the sidelines. Never thought I'd do that. They're handing me all kinds of cough drops, and came back a little bit in the third quarter, and then it was gone again in the fourth, and about 24 hours. Saturday night, finally, it just kind of came back, and my wife got disappointed. She said, man, it was fun while it lasted. So hopefully I'll have it on Saturday.
What do you think of the response from the guys after a big, dominating win?
Yeah.
They came back.
I think so. That's what we talk about. Look, we've won 3 in a row. I think we're starting to we're obviously playing well on defense. I was really proud of our defense for not coming out and having a letdown after playing really well at East Carolina. Offensively, I thought we played well. The opening drive, we got Elijah in there. Should split flow back. It's an obvious handoff, and I think that caught Preston off guard. We still got to keep the football and not let it be on the ground, but it wasn't like we were out of sorts. I thought our guys rebounded and played well. So, that's what we talk about. Handling adversity, handling success, they both are challenges. And, sometimes we always talk about handling when things don't go our way or adversity, but there's a human element to that where, you're going to bear down and try to dig deep when that happens. Whereas maybe you play a good game or things are going kind of well, it's really natural to just kind of relax. And we can't do that, man. We've got to continue to build momentum. And, Tulsa's coming in here. They have a habit of beating us a lot, especially here. I know they did the last time they were here. So, it's good to be back home and first time in over a month, but we got to keep the momentum going.
I think Coach Likens said after the game that he thought it was Preston's best performance to date. Would you agree with that assessment?
I think overall, yes. I thought he had a very good, calm, confident look in his eye. He was getting the ball on time. We got the ball in the quick game a lot better. Even on the deep stuff, he was giving us chances. We were making plays or getting pass interference calls. We left a few out there. I think he arguably could have had 1 or 2 more touchdowns, some contested catches. But, I just thought he was very in control. And, it was really good to see overall.
What this defense has done, 6 straight quarters scoreless,
Yeah.
7 of the last 8, I think. Just how much does that help everybody when the defense is just standing up like they are right now?
It's huge. It's huge when how you coach the game, how you call the game, all the things. There's just a lot of confidence there. Now, at the same time, I think we know. Look, there's 5 regular season games left. Every game's different. We know there's going to be an opportunity that someone's going to come in and play really well on offense. And offensively, we're going to have their back like they've had ours, and it's a good team deal. But, man, it's fun to go into a game and feeling like your guys have a lot of confidence that they can stop people. Even if they go down and score a touchdown, hey, that's all right. We can regroup. We can stop them. So we're going to have a different challenge this week. Running quarterbacks, really good mentality in how they throw the football, though. They know how to throw it. Their staff does. So we're going to have to up our level a little bit this week.
Rob said he kind of challenged his group last week. What did you see out of them? Yeah. And it seems like there are more guys stepping up in the last couple of weeks.
I think the last 2 weeks you've started to see what we want. The aggression. We've dropped a few or maybe not caught a few of the 50-50 balls, but we've also caught our fair share. I think Preston's been aggressive. We've made plays down the field. We've made plays in short spaces and getting the ball out of our hands quicker. So I think from an identity standpoint, offensively, we're starting to trend where we want to be. We just got to continue to raise that level and try to let those, 50-50 balls become more 70-30 or whatever. But we're pushing the ball down the field. We're getting it out quick on the short stuff, and I think we're getting more on the same page.
How important is what Coach Tibbs is doing with the defensive line? How important has he been to developing and maintaining what y'all are doing on defense?
Yeah, Coach Tibbs does a great job with those guys. I mean, they call him the big freak. You don't get a nickname like that if they don't respect you and you don't know what you're doing. I mean, I think the thing we have, obviously, he's done a great job, him and the staff, recruiting to where we have depth. I mean, we have 8 to 10 guys that we can roll in there and play, and you don't feel like there's a big drop-off. So they're all fresh, they're playing with confidence, but just the fundamentals, the techniques, we're playing the run well, we're playing the pass well. I think that those guys have really bought into that wealth of experience he has.
Coach Simons gave a lot of credit to the defensive success to the players, and obviously you brought in a talented group. It stepped up the level of the guys returning, but how much does it take a defensive coordinator who's got a good plan and the position coaches to really kind of galvanize that group?
Yeah, everyone deserves credit. You got to have a leader in vision. And, look, when I got here and we hired Scott, Scott has a track record of having, really good defenses. And so, he knows what he's doing. He's really good. He'd be the first to tell you last year it wasn't to his standard, nobody's, but we're trying to kind of try to shift the culture and identity of what we do on defense here. And I think credit to the staff for bringing in players that, complement the guys we have, and those guys for buying into it. Yes, the players make the plays, but his leadership, the scheme, the vision, him, the way the coaches have taught it, made it stuff that we can have an identity and be good at, play to their strengths. I mean, he deserves a ton of credit for that.
And how much does it help that he's worked with offenses that go fast and
Yeah.
push the tempo or score quickly?
Yeah, that was honestly, the real 3 reasons I hired him is, one, I did know him. Now, we'd only worked together 1 year, 10, 12 years ago. So, but there was enough familiarity. I knew who he was, and he knew who I was. 2, his track record, of having top 15 defenses. But 3, he had been with people like Hugh Freeze and such that, having an offensive coach who wants to play fast and be aggressive wasn't something that he was foreign to. And so I felt like those things made a lot of sense.
I feel like a big step forward for Jordan Hudson this past week. I know he's
Yeah.
really, getting in here
Yep.
late, and you talked about, I think, kind of growing professionally and how he goes about his game. How have you seen him grow, and how do you think that translated into last week?
Yeah, it always clicks differently for everybody. But I think the last 2 weeks, even in practice, I know East Carolina, it didn't show, but he had a great week that week. We felt like I kind of thought he was going to break out that week. But it just was a week later. But just the consistency, the approach, the mentality is getting better and better every day. And it was good to see him kind of have a game the other night like we know he's capable of, and I think he'll have a lot more of.
You mentioned it a little bit, but Tulsa, just what do they bring when they come in here?
Yeah, Coach Wilson, he's good. He's been good on offense everywhere he's ever been. They got 2 quarterbacks. Braxton was hurt, allowed the other young man to play really well, I thought. Now they got 2 guys that are very similar. They can really run the football as an offense, and the quarterbacks are a big part of that. But they still know how to hurt you throwing the football. They've had several games this year scoring in the 40s and scoring a lot of points. So anytime an offense can do that, they're capable of breaking out. So we got to, like every week, we got to stop the run. We got to limit explosives and make them drive the field. But I think stopping the run specifically this week will be maybe a little bit more of a challenge than it's been the last few weeks. So it'll be good to see how we respond to that.
Any injuries you can update?
Oh, man. I'm trying to think who else hurt. On defense, I do think that there's a chance we'd have Crossley available this week, which I know he's been out for a while. Jaden Jones has been playing, but he's out of the cast now finally. Massey's probably still out. It's just going to be a matter of when he gets the strength back in that shoulder. He wants to play. Probably will have to have it fixed at the end of the year, but he wants to play. And if he gets his strength back, he's allowed to play. So that's kind of going to be week to week, but I don't think he'll be there this week. Offensively, I think we're in a pretty good place. J.O. got just his ankle rolled up a little bit. He could have gone back in. We didn't. So I feel good about him and LJ. And you saw Kamar got in there a little bit. So I think we're trending pretty healthy, as healthy as we've been. Moochie banged his shoulder up. He practiced today. it ended up not being that bad. You know, it was obviously pretty sore when it happened, and by the time I think we were up 21-0 by the time we maybe could have put him back in. It was pretty sore, so we held him. We didn't know at that point, too, how severe it was. It ended up not being bad, so I think he's available as well.
There's a lot of conversation with what's going on in the Big Ten about sign stealing.
Yeah.
Is that something you've ever had to concern yourself with? What are your kind of thoughts on it?
Yeah, I think probably what most coaches have said. I mean, that situation I know nothing about, so I'm not going to comment on that. But just in general, there's a gamesmanship that's all fair. Like if you can pick someone's signals, they're trying to pick ours, you're trying to pick theirs, like in the game. It's no different than baseball, right? Back in the day, the third base coach is doing all the signals, and if you found out the indicator, like, hey, they're stealing, I'm going to throw them out. Like, that's part of the game. But the other stuff, I mean, yeah, you're not allowed to go scout opponents live. We've not been able to do that as long as I've really been coaching. So, you know, I don't know. That's really all I have to say. I mean, we all know in every game there's sign signal stealing live in the game that's not against the rules. It's just kind of part of the gamesmanship. And I don't know if there's ever many opportunities where I feel like it's really directly affected the outcome of the game that I can think of. But everyone probably has their own experiences.
Is there, in the coaching community, kind of reputations of, man, that staff can pick you
Yeah.
apart and
Yeah.
things like that?
Yeah, no, there is. You know, when you go into certain games, you know, you're not worried about it. In other games, you're pretty worried about it. And you see people with all the boards and stuff trying to cover them up. I mean, again, that's just kind of part of the human element. You know, they've talked about putting the headset or the mic in the quarterback's helmet. Sounds like college, we're not going to do that. I don't know why they can do it in the pros and we can't do it in college. I know they're looking at some other things that, whatever. I mean, to me, if you're going to do it like, let's do like what they do in the NFL. I agree too. Like in the NFL and high school, you can have TVs and technology on the sidelines. You can't in college. It makes no sense. But they don't ask me. So, you know, we do like to know huddle and play with tempo. So if that's the case, then talking to the quarterback only does so much. You're going to always have to do some sort of signaling. So, you know, every year, just like the portal and NIL and everything else, whatever they tell us the rules are, we'll figure out the best way we can play by the rules.
You guys are coming in off success. You talked about playing with that. Obviously, Tulsa, the way that game finished for them last Thursday night,
Yeah.
I guess was probably pretty disappointing for them.
Yeah.
How do those kind of mesh to a team that's maybe trying to get that bad taste out of their mouth versus a team that's trying to get that streak to 4?
Yeah, I mean, I think they'd tell you they probably felt like they were going to go find a way to win that game, get to 4-3, and maybe get their roll going. It didn't go that way. That happens to all of us at some point in time. They're a much better team than that score indicates. I also think Rice is pretty good. So, you know, I think those together just didn't work out for them. But I expect them to come in here and be a tough team to beat and make us beat them. You know, we're going to have to go earn the win. We're going to have to play really well. And yes, there's human element to past games, good and bad, that always affect teams. You don't really know how it's affecting them or us unless you're there. But week to week, it's, you know, on Saturday, it's going to come down to who plays the best. Hopefully we can continue to take the next step like we have the last few weeks and continue to improve. And if so, I like our chances.